Children's movies are meant to be entertaining and reassuring for our little ones, but occasionally they choose to delve deeper and address subjects that little Jack or Jill might not be quite ready to confront. You might not be either, now that I think about it. Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's video we will explore the top 10 kids movies that can make adults cry. On number 10, Where the Red Fern Grows. Where the Red Fern Grows had the potential to be something remarkable, but the last 10 to 15 minutes turned it into a movie that, if we were Joey Tribbiani, we would freeze. Billy Coleman, Stuart Peterson, is forced to witness one of his dogs get butchered by a mountain lion. The other starves to death after going through more suffering than a small fellow should be permitted to experience. He finds his greatest solace towards the story's conclusion between the two graves, a red fern that only an angel, it is said, could have planted. Remember that this poor child has to cope with absolute poverty from the beginning, getting a job at the ripe old age of 12 so he can buy the dogs in the first place, and guilt over being involved in a fight with another boy when his opponent landed on a hatchet and died. It was all Billy could do to participate in the huge coon hunt competition right before the mountain lion assault because of the hatchet event, and he loses when he has to give up the hunt to save his grandpa's life. Yes, the winner does present him with the medal, but the doggy snuff immediately follows that fleeting moment of victory. On number 9, The Lion King. Until Mufasa's brother Scar betrays his king and pushes him off a cliffside into a band of stampeding hyenas who stomp him to death, The Lion King is a fantastic family film. Kids, be warned, Mommy and Daddy will pass away one day. And to make matters worse, Scar convinces Simba, Mufasa's son, that he is to blame, causing our hero to spend the remainder of his cub years believing he murdered his father. The second life lesson is that no one will hurt you as much as your family. What else would you anticipate from anything influenced by William Shakespeare's writing? The finale of this rather melancholy children's film, while triumphant in the sense that Mufasa's death is avenged, conveys to kids the lesson that diplomacy is pointless and that some people are better off being killed by lions. They not only require it, but also should die the most horrifying end imaginable by being devoured by hyenas. As far as children's movies go, we're not sure what to think about this one, but it's still a fantastic movie. In 1988, Lucas Haas had his first leading role in Lady in White, a film that introduced young viewers to the world of serial killers and their young victims. In Lady in White, frequently referred to as a family horror film, Haas plays a younger version of the author narrator who observes a small girl being murdered. Even though the PG-13 rating was previously designated for other action movies that drew a lot of prepubescent youngsters, the MPAA decided to give Lady in White a milder rating after an appeal, like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, for instance. On number 8, Up. When we watch the first 10 to 15 minutes of Up, we can't help but yell, "Why Pixar, why?" at the screen. After one of the most endearing first encounters in animated movie history, and probably in cinematic history overall, a lovely montage walks us through the highs and lows of a love affair akin to The Notebook that lasts until old age. You start to comprehend that directors Pete Docter and Bob Peterson are preparing to pull out your still-beating heart and reveal it to you as Ellie and Carl get older and the soundtrack becomes more depressing. The struggles of a couple who always wanted children but couldn't have their own, and the death scene, everything nicely sets up the rest of the movie, but it's totally heartbreaking and ensures tears throughout. On number 7, The Secret of Nim. The Secret of Nim defies expectations by having more deaths than the majority of children's films. Nim is a heartfelt adventure about a widowed field mouse who fights to keep her sickly son Timmy from dying of pneumonia. It features a little more bloodshed than typical family movies, particularly in the battle's climax when 3 of the main characters are killed in a string of violent events. A faulty rope and pulley system kills Nicodemus, Jenna stabs Sullivan fatally before being wounded by Justin, and Sullivan thrusts a knife into Jenna's back as he expires. Aside from such gruesome incidents, guess what happens to the rats at the National Institute of Mental Health? Well done if you responded, "Alex, what is run trials on them before final elimination?" The significantly diluted The Secret of Nim 2, Timmy to the Rescue, was released after The Secret of Nim. Number 6. Bambi. Winter is approaching and Mommy must pass away. Since it debuted in 1942, Walt Disney's Bambi has tormented young children's dreams worldwide. Being close to one's mother is a circumstance that young children can easily relate to, thus the movie goes straight for the heart by having a hunter slay Mama during Bambi's first winter. The desperate tone of his mother's voice as she urges Bambi to go and leads him on the first leg of their escape makes the moment very agonizing. She's well aware of the threat, but Bambi is a little less so. Additionally, he's too pumped up from the excitement to notice that she is no longer behind him when he finally reaches safety. He is initially excited before realizing he is alone. Thankfully, the movie improves in its optimism from then, but yikes. On number 5, The Empire Strikes Back, 1980. It turns out that the father you thought had died a good death was actually the evil guy who goes against everything you've ever felt was right, moral, and good. He then amputates your hand. If only The Empire Strikes Back's worst scenario was that. In addition, you have to deal with your sister kissing you to enrage your opponent, whom she likes much better, even if they weren't aware of the link at the time. Then, while gazing into the eyes of the woman he loves, the aforementioned adversary, who is a pretty honorable guy, is frozen into nearly certain death. On number 4, Time Bandits, 1981. Time Bandits is the only evil genius who can attempt to murder a group of adorable small people and their 11-year-old male buddy, in addition to blowing up entire people and turning others into pigs. By staging one vignette with King Agamemnon, Sean Connery, who kills a giant in front of our brave 11-year-old, Terry Gilliam's classic of children's cinema also ventures into some horrible ground. Not to mention, one of Robin Hood's merry men gives each of the underprivileged a present before sending them off to a brutal punch in the face, male and female recipients. The final scene is by far the most distressing. The home of little Kevin burns to the ruins. He sees his parents prodding at an explosive black rock and tells them not to touch it as he and his parents flee. Mom and Dad are blown to pieces a short while afterward. On number 3, The Never-Ending Story, 1984. After filming the sequence with his horse buddy Artax in the swamps of sadness for The Never-Ending Story, Atreyu, Noah Hathaway, probably needed a lot of therapy. Friends since the beginning, Atreyu begs his beloved steed to struggle against the swamp's might, but the more he tries, the deeper he goes, like quicksand. How the movie handles the closing shot of Atreyu's face pressing up against the horse's nose, pleading with his friend to continue fighting, really makes you cry. Thankfully, Wolfgang Petersen, the director, departs before the scene where the horse's head is buried in the mud, but by that point the damage has already been done. The Never-Ending Story, like The Secret of Nim, was followed by 2 sequels and a television series. However, it almost seems as if the rights holders overcorrected to more conventional, yawn-inducing family material to make up for that dark moment. Yes, it's safer to watch, but it lacks power. On number 2, Watership Down, 1978. Watership Down, which follows Rabbit Hazel on an epic trip to the titular location so he can lead his people to a new secure homeland, is the only children's film that does as thorough a job teaching the cycles of life and where death, cruelty, and destruction fit in as it does. Thankfully, it doesn't come to that, even though Hazel once offers to give his life for the benefit of others. The movie by director Martin Rosen does, however, linger long enough for us to see Hazel pass away gently in old age and travel to some eternity. Unfortunately, not all rabbits are that fortunate. Consider the unfortunate Varlin Tor Blackavar, who perish untimely due to a hawk or the primary antagonist. And as for the antagonist, Woundwat's fate is never revealed, but it does give you the impression that a dog gobbled him up. On number 1, Dumbo, 1941. Dumbo, the tale of a circus elephant whose big ears are teased until he learns he can fly with them, is best known for its melancholy scenes more than its humorous or even frightening ones. The animated film, despite being brief, manages to cram a lot of impact into sequences, such as when Dumbo's mother is stolen and placed in a cage. After witnessing Dumbo in such tragic circumstances, though, his later ascension is just as likely to bring on tears, and there is a sense of relief that the baby elephant succeeds in the end. few Disney fans can deny having fond memories of Dumbo's story of triumph and tragedy. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. Just click on the subscribe button below this video. Now I want to turn it over to you. If you have any suggestions regarding today's video, please let me know by leaving a comment below.